Brendo, have you seen the design of the new PlayStation controller?
Don't matter if you're black or white.
Well, actually, the white one looks pretty ugly to me.
Sorry, did you say something?
The Gaming Lovers Podcast with Brendo and Jem.
G'day and welcome to episode 102 of the Gaming Lovers Podcast. I'm Jem.
I'm Brendo, and we have been playing new releases by the bucket load this week. Still not as much as some people are. I shared a tweet showing my wonderful head start on Final Fantasy VII Remake. And now that it's out worldwide, I'm terrified of spoilers. It was kind of nice having that free time where nobody else was playing a game that I was playing because I didn't have to worry about spoilers and screenshots and videos and hashtags. Oh, goodness. But look, what can we do? It's video game season. Everyone is playing more video games than ever, it seems.
Yes.
We are the Gaming Lovers. We're talking about the Inside Xbox video presentation, which was a little bit different than what we were used to.
In a good way, though. I think everyone is adapting to presenting things online. It's always amusing seeing people broadcast from their houses, though.
So we'll be having a little look at the big things coming out of that conference, if you can call it a conference. It was a video conference, I suppose. They were all on live stream chat with each other. And it is good to see that even Microsoft themselves get buggy, low-quality video streaming when they do group chats. So that's fantastic to hear.
Yes. Moments where the audio cuts out or just sounds a little bit echoey. So, yeah, we're definitely all in this together as far as being reliant on the internet to stay connected at the moment, more so than ever before. It's been interesting seeing stats on things like the sales of video games, going up, as well as consoles being one of the things that has been panic bought of late as parents go, oh no, I'm stuck at home with my kids. Get them on the TV. Give them more screen time.
The World Health Organization lambasted the gaming community, saying video game addiction is the great issue of this generation. Now they have put out headlines saying the World Health Organization believes that video games are a wonderful way for people to relax during this pandemic.
Absolutely. And a lot of developers are jumping on board the free educational game package as well. So before we've had Ubisoft with the Rabbids coding, and now we
can't believe that's a thing.
I know, right?
Rabbids coding. To make sure that this script executes correctly, please type in... I don't think they're the right people for the job.
They make it engaging. But now Minecraft has jumped on board as well, alongside NASA. So replicating the International Space Station. They've also been doing some famous landmarks. So you may not be able to go visiting places, in real life, but you can see Minecraft recreations of them.
Of course. Just make sure we actually clarify that it is in Minecraft. We cannot send your children to space because in space no one can hear them scream.
That's true isolation right there.
That would be a great benefit for many parents with their kids at home at the moment.
I don't know. I think this would also be the time that if I had been planning a big holiday or vacation with my family, especially for those that were planning ones to, say, Disney, I would be one of those parents that would get that cheap Disney Connect video game and let them play that and be like, here you go, kids, we're still going to Disney today.
And of course you will charge them exorbitant amount of pocket money so that they can eat during the experience.
Here's a giant pretzel. That'll be $10, please. Oh, you want a bucket of popcorn? Oh, you can have it in a souvenir bucket.
Yes.
For an extra $15.
The souvenir bucket at home is just a shoebox. That's all we can find. Paint Dumbo on it. It'll be fine.
It's an actual bucket. Just pulled it out of the garage. Anyways, we're going to get to more of all the stuff that's going on in the gaming community and all the announcements to look forward to after...
Because this is gaming goals. The time of the podcast where we talk what we've been playing. I just thought I'd stick with the Michael Jackson theme of this episode, it seems, who obviously he ripped off his whole gimmick from Miracle Johnson, featured in the historical masterpiece Yakuza 0. Let's not forget that little nugget. Gaming goals.
I haven't had as a big a week as I had hoped. Everyone else is talking about how they're getting bored and they're looking for things to do. I am so not on that same train, I guess. I feel like I've had too much.
I'm the one who drives trains. You're not on the train.
I'm on a different train, and my train is... there's been a lot of work as far as businesses having to revamp things like their on-hold messages with their businesses changing, or doing new ad campaigns suddenly because what they had planned, they can't either do because they've had to either close or change their terms or, advertise that they're doing contactless delivery, things like that.
And you, being a voiceover artist, are rolling in the jobs. And
For now.
It comes and goes.
Yes.
Freelance work.
Definitely. It's been a weird week, but going back into radio, asked to come back to radio to help out as well during this crisis time, which who knows how long that will last. And then I feel like I've been tech support for so many people.
Chiefly your parents.
I just feel like I should answer my phone every time going, "Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?" Yeah, it's helping them adapt to using video chat and casting and all these things and teaching people how to share things on social media. It's like just been everything. And I've this whole week, I think I've managed to play maybe 5 hours worth of gaming.
Atrocious. I'm disappointed in you.
I'm sad too because I want to relax. I'm I really need to relax right now, but it's been full on. And, there's still also, the whole, we're having a baby soon. I wanted things to be slowing down about now, not speeding back up.
Yes, this was intended to be the 3-month span where we were going to hit full gaming speed, and that has not panned out that way. We still have 2 months until baby is due to make his debut.
Yes.
But video games, I'm an essential worker, and that doesn't... It's not as good as it sounds. I'm thankful for the work. Being a train driver, I'm an essential worker. I think it can be translated to expendable, but it depends on how you want to view it as far as being out in the front line, out in the world, interacting with people, keeping the city moving. But it does mean that while everyone else is complaining on social media of how little there is to do at home, people like us who would relish the opportunity to just have a few extra hours to enjoy some of our hobbies.
Yeah.
Swimming in work.
I'm never going to be ungrateful for work. I'm already exhausted. So I'm trying to find some balance. So this week, we continue our adventures in Animal Crossing. You've been able to take it to work with you.
Yes.
So I think you've definitely got more done. Every time I log back in, something else has changed on the island, on Dargo Island that we're sharing. I'm and suddenly now we have a bamboo forest.
I made a secret little bamboo hideaway. Absolutely ravaged a Nook Miles island for every strand of bamboo that I could find. Strand? Stalk. What are they even called? Sticks.
The stalk would be, I think, more accurate.
Well, I took every ounce of bamboo I could find and planted it in a beautiful little isometric pattern, which I immediately, upon completion, realised was a terrible idea because you can only place furniture in horizontal vertical grids. So having the bamboo forest at a isometric diagonal setup made the furniture look weird, and I was not going to reset it all. I had had enough of planting bamboo. So it may have been a sweet gesture, but I'm just saying there was effort and planning put into it, and it just didn't go according to plan.
For me, I think I'm appreciating the fact that we have a game that I can pick up and play for 20 minutes, that I can relax, enjoy the music, kind of do the bare bones, kind of run around and gather a few things and start projects that you can then contribute to, because you seem to be doing way more work on the island than I have.
And
So
that is what's interesting, because you, oh mighty first player that logged into the game, are allocated as the island representative.
yes.
You call the shots. You make the choices. You have the infrastructure menus that I have no access to. I can't put a road down. I can't choose where to put a bridge, but I can fund a bridge.
Yes.
And so I found my role is just working myself to the bone.
And giving me the money. Gee, that sounds accurate.
Now, we have upgraded our little island. We now have a campsite, which means we can get visitors.
Yep.
And the first visitor that came in has arrived yesterday. And we have shared on this podcast that Wade, our little baby penguin friend in Animal Crossing, he is my best buddy. And then I met Tex yesterday, and he is another penguin
Yep.
wearing a varsity jacket. And I think he's a jerk, and he's a bad influence on Wade. So I did not invite Tex to live on our island. He can find somewhere else to live. Mind you, I don't think a tropical island is the best place for a penguin to live
No.
to start with.
Not the best climate.
That's not important, I'm sure.
Although it might change when we're in winter. I don't know. Because we're on the southern hemisphere. At the moment, we're in autumn. But everyone's posting pictures of like there's the cherry blossoms and all the spring activities that are happening because they're in the northern hemisphere and that's what they're playing on. And I'm like, that looks really pretty. We're not there yet.
But thank goodness that Bunny Day, as of today, is officially over.
Yes.
No more stupid Zipper T Bunny. This is a game filled with animal people. Zipper T Bunny has a zip on his back, hence the name. It is a outfit. We don't know what's in that.
What's actually in it?
Is it a man? A man is not allowed on these islands. Is it a human? Is it a robot? Is it an alien species? I don't know the answers to these questions. I did not like Zipper T Bunny. He reminded me of Robbie the Rabbit from Silent Hill 3. He put eggs absolutely everywhere. All anyone was talking about was eggs. I did a fishing tournament. There was a special fishing thing. I think it happens once a month maybe. And you have to catch as many fish as you can in 3 minutes. And of course, I'm fishing stupid freaking eggs out of the river because it's Bunny Day. And so it ruined my fishing tournament experience. Thank goodness Bunny Day is done. And it just makes me worried about all the other events they're going to have. Hopefully, the outcry, the backlash to Bunny Day will course correct any future plans they had for whatever's next. What's next? Queen's birthday? I don't know. What's a worldwide event? I just thought of Queen's birthday.
Sometimes the holidays more reflect Japanese culture than anything. So that's something to keep in mind. I've discovered that with like Pocket Camp. You will always have the really big global holidays, Christmas and things like that. They're never called that, but like they obviously coincide with those dates. But yeah, there is still that Japanese influence as far as the way that they address a lot of these public holidays, and some of the items and traditional limited edition things that happen are very much that's how the Japanese celebrate it, not necessarily how the world celebrates something. So yeah, it's interesting to see just those little slithers in there.
Cool. I've also been playing and continuing using the technologic advancements that have been made several years ago, but we've recently discovered, like SharePlay on the PS4. Myself and the good brother, Mr. Steve, have been playing Resident Evil 3, and of course, I must put out an apology. I was immediately corrected with my terminology of attempting to call him the good brother in Spanish. It is not El Bueno Hombre. That just means the good man. And it should have been El Buen Humano. Hermano, the good brother. So I've just butchered that pronunciation.
You should know Humano from Arrested Development.
Of course. It's one of those things, as soon as he said it, I'm like, yes, of course. I know what's going on. But the not good brother, Mr. Nemesis, oh boy, Resident Evil 3, I've been playing. The good brother, Mr. Steve, watching me through SharePlay while we experience this game together for the first time, but with me in control. And so far, it is definitely more action-packed than Resident Evil 2 remake was, and considerably short. It's weird because when you play a remake, and I'm playing 2 remakes at the moment, so I'm experiencing this all over my gaming schedule, you have expectations in your head, especially if it's a game that you have played a lot of. And I've played a lot of the original Resident Evil 3. I know the order of the places that you visit in this game. And Resident Evil 3 Remake does spin some of those set points around to different orders. And some locations are completely absent. Some locations are new. You've got new set pieces, new enemies, and old enemies that are changed. And it's just completely not in a sense of control that I thought I would have playing a game I'm so familiar with, even though it's a remake.
Yep.
I know what's coming up next because I've played the original. No, hang on, what the heck is this I found in the sewers? This is not what I'm used to. Oh my gosh, it's terrible and enjoyable and great fun. And this is the exact sort of game that I love to replay as well. So even though after 2 sessions of about 2.5 hours each, we're probably 2/3 of the way through this game, and I don't mind because these games are prime material for replaying and getting trophies and speed runs and S ranks and no saves and all these other things, the little challenges you can knock out in subsequent runs through the game. And I'm looking forward to it.
How does it compare with Final Fantasy VII Remake? They're obviously both classic video games, very beloved.
Mm-hmm. From the same era as well.
Yeah.
PlayStation 1 era.
And graphically speaking, both beautiful, but does one kind of outshine the other as far as A, living up, I guess, to its legacy, but B, visually speaking, is there a winner?
Well, if you want to put it purely on graphics, I don't think you can. It's a difficult one. I mean, I have played Resident Evil 3 and thought, my goodness, the lighting is incredible. You have a torch, it's casting shadows. You've got slick blood pools on the floor from whatever beastie you've just blasted with a shotgun.
Yep. It
looks fantastic, but then I play Final Fantasy VII Remake and I am constantly lifting my jaw off the ground at how beautiful that game is. And we'll get more into details on that in a second. But Resident Evil 3, I don't mind these sort of, we've made a game, it's well received, let's use the same engine, the same style, and just get the next one out. If you don't do too many of those within a short amount of time, they are effective ways to make sequels on a tighter budget with a quicker turnaround. Resident Evil 2 Remake only came out last year.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. It's a shorter game, whereas the Final Fantasy VII Remake has certainly stretched out its content.
Yes.
So if you want to compare one to the other for their value, if you want more enjoyment, you'd probably go for the Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. But they're two very different games. I don't think they can be directly compared. And I'm yet to try the multiplayer bonus game that is thrown into Resident Evil 3 of Resistance, the 4-on-1 asymmetrical multiplayer game. I want to play it, and I feel like it is going to be one of those games that excels a month or 2 down the road when they iron out bugs, balance the game a little bit, give you some more features and unlockables. I think that's when it'll be the best to experience that. But for now, Resident Evil 3 is a winner, and I am enjoying it, and it is quite difficult. I was trying to do a no-death run on my first straight playthrough of the game. No. Multiple deaths.
One thing I did notice when you were playing Final Fantasy VII Remake was in the cutscenes that sometimes the way a character had been animated didn't quite match the casting or the voice performance.
Yep.
Not to say that it's the voice actor's fault, because, you usually, especially if you're dubbing over, then you don't really get to control the way that the character is animated and brought to life based on those performances.
Yep.
And sometimes, you might get a really amazing high energy performance and the character is like barely moving, or
It just synchronizes wrong with the animation.
It looks just slightly off.
A lot of games are made with like little programs that just detect the lip flaps, and it doesn't matter what language you're playing with. It can translate the mouth movements to time up with the speech of whatever dialogue is redubbed, re-recorded in a different language. But for long chunks of dialogue, when you have an existing full body animation showing frustration and flailing their arms, and the voice performance is just off by like half a second or a second here, and that's a second too early and that's a second too late, it's difficult. This isn't like an anime episode of 20 minutes where you can just time it up. Every line fits perfectly. We'll make it all work well. This is a large-scale project.
Oh, definitely.
I'm willing to give them benefit of the doubt on some little things like that. But of course, my voice-over artist wife walks in at that exact moment. Thankfully, she didn't walk in a few minutes earlier when Cloud was getting his massage, because that was strangely awkward. But look, I am at Wall Market, a section in the game I have been looking forward to experiencing. Essentially, it is the entertainment district of the slums. And so we have flashy neon signs, we have bars, we have loud music coming from establishments, we have a coliseum, we have all the entertainment someone would need, and there's also a major plot section of this game that I've been looking forward to, where you attempt to infiltrate a crime boss's headquarters. And it can only be done in a certain manner, which I won't spoil for those who have yet to experience this game. Even minor things like that, I don't like to spoil.
Even though the original game's been out for a long time.
Even though the original game has been out for over 20 years, it's the journey, not so much this is the final boss and here's the final plot point, you've been spoiled. No, I like people to discover things on their own as well. But graphically, this section of the game is bedazzling, and I have been greatly, greatly enjoying the slower burn of this Final Fantasy VII remake. And it is out worldwide now, and part of my problem is I like to enjoy games at my own pace. And I'm hearing somebody on Twitter who didn't have the game 2 days ago, and now they've beaten it. And I'm like, no, don't tell me anything. I'll block you on Twitter if you say anything more about this game. I liked having no expectations, no external words coming in me about how I should feel about this game. And to be honest, I'm having this discussion about Final Fantasy VII Remake just to tell you what I think, but not explicitly to tell you what you should think. I always think people should make their own opinions on games. If someone doesn't like a game, that's fine.
Yep.
If someone likes a game that's stupid, that's fine. Doesn't matter. You should still be able to make your own judgment calls, and my goodness me, this game is fantastic, and just like Death Stranding before it, I can't wait to get 3/4 through it and then drop it like a hot potato for whatever's next. What's coming out next? Oh, look at that.
Oh, something shiny.
The combat system in particular has been getting quite in-depth when it comes to large-scale boss fights. Smaller encounters with smaller enemies are still very easy. You can just mash attack and then throw a spell and then they're done. Cool, easy, done. But when you have massive, long boss fights, I'm playing on normal difficulty. If you're playing on easy or classic, where you just choose commands, I'm sure it would be a lot simpler. But these boss fights are quite challenging, and you have to juggle using your charges on your ATB guide, on your ATB meter, to choose whether to use a special attack, to use a spell, to use an item. Because one charge covers all of that. And as soon as you use that charge, you've got to let the next thing build up. So you need to make those strategic decisions. Know when to block, know when to counter, know when to dodge. And for anyone who is telling you that this game is just square, 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 no. 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 This is Final Fantasy 13 all over again, where people are like, oh, the combat's just, you just push X the whole time. No. 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 It just takes a while for all of the depth and, battle systems to be required, not just optional.
Yes.
And the more you unlock, you get new skills, you get new materia, you get more options in combat. It's very cool, and overall, visually, gameplay, combat, dialogue, it's all hitting home runs, in my opinion. But the cream of the crop with this game, without a doubt, is the soundtrack. This music is iconic from the original game. You have Tifa's theme, you have Aerith's theme, you have the battle theme, and sure, you can just jazz them up for modern styles and gameplay and make it a bit more like a remix, but each of these tracks from the original has like half a dozen versions of each track, which play contextually depending on what's happening. The wall market I'm in, you'll have high energy, sort of disco-y sort of music going in one part of town. You head towards the Chocobo stables, and it will sound more like a twangy sort of country guitar with whistling, but it's the same music. It's that same dynamic music style that I love in games like Banjo-Kazooie, where you have the same music track playing, but you've got different versions of it depending on what's happening. You have the exploration music, which flows seamlessly into battle music, which is just a high energy style of whatever you're listening to, and then it fades back down when the combat's complete, and you're back to exploring. It is so good, and I have heard so many good versions of the classic battle music of Final Fantasy VII that I just want to make a CD for my car just of all that. It'll be the same track 32 times, but I don't care. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And I'm officially the squat champion of the gym. So that's also very important to the overarching plot, I'm sure.
Of course.
Thighs of steel, Cloud Strife. Very good. But like I said, I'm playing the PS Vita, playing the PS1 original on my PS Vita.
Yes.
As we continue through Final Fantasy VII, and I haven't had to touch it this week because I am 18 hours into the remake and I am yet to hit the same point that is 3 hours into the original. That is how much this game has extra stuff in its story, in its locations, in its conversations. There's a lot more going on, and so far it has been used to fantastic degrees of character development, of enjoyable side quests, 90% enjoyable side quests, and great little side content.
Well, it sounds like you are enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake thoroughly.
Yeah, of course, we said we have plenty of work eating up lots of our time, so I'm just sacrificing sleep. I mean, I don't see the problem with that, especially with a safety critical job like myself. I just want to say for the record, that was a comedic line, not real.
Oh, dear. For me, I promised last week that I would play more Persona 5 Royal and that I wanted to meet the next team member of the Phantom Thieves. And I technically have.
Technically?
Yes. But I've managed to technically meet two members, like future members. So there's been some different interactions. There's
there's been slow progress when the word technically gets thrown out a lot when it comes to meeting our gaming goals.
Yes. So there's a bit of a slow build up to really getting to officially meet this character, but they have been introduced. So I gave myself I'm like, yes, I achieved it because I've really had very little time to play it, and getting the PlayStation as well is a bit of a rarity
difficult
at the moment. It's been interesting though, because obviously they've added so much new content, and one of the things that I got to discover this last playthrough was the Thieves' Den, where it's this kind of
what is the Thieves' Den?
Optional little area that you can go into to basically enjoy trophies that you've unlocked from different areas, to rewatching cutscenes and messing around with your outfit choices and stuff. I'm at the bare bones of it. Oh, and you can play Rich Man, Poor Man.
Oh, good.
Not what it's called. But it's essentially those rules. And yeah, I imagine once I get further into the game, there'll be a lot more to do in said Thieves' Den. But yeah, it's interesting that they've just added lots of little side things to waste time on. Oh, and they've also added 2 new arcanas. So one of the gameplay systems in these Persona games is that you've got those tarot cards, and each one is, they're arcanas. They're, the priestess, you got the Joker, the Fool, all those things, and they kind of usually match up with one of your friends, and it usually kind of lines up with their personality a little bit as well. So a very common thread in all the Persona games is usually one of the girls is always the lover's arcana, the one that they almost try to push on you as best girl, even though it's very rarely true. and they've added 2 new ones that I had never heard of. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I think it was Counselor and Faith to represent 2 new confidence that you have in this game. So more social links. I'm going to have to be even stricter with my time management now. So, yeah, it was interesting trying to figure out how to make these new ones because they have, when you're trying to fuse your personas together to unlock certain ones, because you want to have arcanas on your person when you're interacting with them because it boosts your friendship points.
Yep.
And if you don't have them on you, then it slows down your progress and you have to hang out with them more, which costs you very valuable time.
You sound so stressed about trying to get your timetable right.
That's why I have to use a guide for these games, because otherwise you stuff up one day.
Mm-hmm.
It will ripple affect the rest of the game. So as much as I love it, there are days where I'm like, oh, I need to spend like hours just fusing personas, and I don't have that kind of like brain function at the moment. So I'll play something else, like Animal Crossing.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at the moment.
Good stuff. Gaming goals done for another week.
Yes. We'll be back with all the latest from the Xbox announcements after this.
You're listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. Want to join the conversation? Visit thegaminglovers.com. Record your comment or question by clicking on the button on the right-hand side, and you could be featured in the next podcast.
Now, we're used to seeing Phil Spencer very casual at E3 compared to some of the other, heads of these big corporations. Nintendo usually always in suits. Even Sean Layden from PlayStation usually dresses up at least semi, like neat casual, if he does dress down on screen.
Phil Spencer will be there in a hoodie and a t-shirt. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's there in jeans and wearing comfy clothes. We got to see, the next level casual Phil Spencer as he opened up with the digital presentation from Xbox from his house, sitting there in a hoodie looking like he's just come fresh from playing video games himself.
Well, there you go. He's just an everyman, isn't he? We can all relate to Phil Spencer.
Yes. And I think that's a good thing, though, too. Like, it's nice to know that these businessmen understand, I think, game culture, not just for the fact that it makes them lots of money, but, live it themselves. And I think that is reflected quite heavily in the way that Phil has always presented himself in the past. So he addressed, obviously, the situation and wished everyone well and to be safe, and then jumped into the correspondence that they had from all their homes.
Yeah, what was interesting is I'm sure with a budget like Microsoft have, they could have made it look glitzy and glamish? Glamorous. That'll do. Glamish.
It's a new word.
I'm sure they could have upped the production value. It could have all been pre-recorded. It could have all been even just done with beautiful, neat green screen backgrounds with good lighting.
Yeah.
But they let it be done like we're all experiencing.
Yeah.
With Skype calls to our family because we can't go visit them, and we're all just in our backyards and our entry halls of our house. Just strange locations with bad quality. And I think it was a deliberate action. I think it was a deliberate choice.
And one that I kind of agree with. It's nice to see everyone kind of in their homes, because in the sense it unifies you on a global scale.
Yep.
That, we are literally all trying to do the same thing of that social distancing and coping through this pandemic at the moment. So getting to see people that normally you see in a very grand stage and with all the bells and whistles reduced to the same, glitches and things like that we have to deal with, humanizes them.
Yep.
And it will make this presentation unique, especially we're hoping that this won't last forever, and this year will be the outlier, and then next year will kind of go back to normal. So it will make every bit of content that's made this year in these coming months really.
It'll be a fascinating little time machine to look back on in 10 years.
Yeah, if you look at it'll be like a time capsule of this weird thing that we've gone through together. So I personally find it fascinating.
Well, let's get to some of the bigger announcements that were made. I've been a fan of Obsidian Entertainment for years and years, and they have made Grounded, which is essentially Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Yep.
the game.
Pretty much.
Into the backyard with you, smaller than an ant, and survive.
Yes. And I'm very happy to hear that they have an arachnophobia mode where you can turn off all spiders. And that way, if you really don't like spiders, you don't have to deal with them in the game. I think that's very sweet. Can they do that for bees?
Now, giant spiders are not a rarity in video games, but what about normal-sized spiders? When you're small, does that make them more scary?
Possibly. I don't know. Giant spiders are still the thing that make me jump out of my skin when I replayed Dragon Age Origins, because the sound effect that comes with them when they drop suddenly from the ceiling legit gets me every time. I've played it so many times and I've always been a jumpy person.
Yep.
But because they do this very suddenly out of nowhere and then they're on top of you. So, yeah. Normally I'm not afraid of real spiders unless they startle me. Having one land on your face, in the middle of the night, I think that's, okay to freak out at that. But seeing one across the room, I can deal with it. I can pick it up. I can move it. I can squash it if I have to.
As long as it's a controlled environment.
Exactly. So spiders aren't a huge issue for me. But I do like that they've thought of the fact that it's a big phobia and that they've given people the option to remove them. I think it's just very sweet.
We got details about the single-player aspect, and there is a storyline as well, not just survive as many days as you can before you succumb to a caterpillar. It's looking good. I think it would be an enjoyable experience. It might be a bit of a harder sell to play with someone like my good buddy the Falcon, who we've played The Forest together. We're playing Dead Island together. We play these grisly, gory survival by the skin of your teeth. Do what has to be done. I don't know if he'll be on board to play the more
cartoony,
playful. Look, there's a big ant trying to eat me. Oh, this is disastrous.
It still looks a little gross though.
Yeah.
Having bugs explode. I mean, they're gross enough when you squash them in real life, and it's a small little stain. But them being bigger than you, that would be really gross. I'm just trying to think of all the other insects that are considered kind of dangerous, especially if you were their size. You would have a lot more predators than you would be used to.
Oh, heaps.
Even ladybugs could be dangerous, Yes. Things that you consider friendly bugs would be lunch.
A worm could look like an anaconda.
Ugh.
Terrifying. The Xbox Game Pass continues to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
And although it's got to be coming up on its expiry date, my subscription, because it was something I thought, yeah, stuff it, let's do it. Let's just spend that $50, whatever I spent, to get a year's worth of Game Pass to try it out. And now I don't think I can live without it because there are so many games available on it that are just worth playing.
The fact that you managed to get the Outer Worlds for free through it.
Yeah, launch day.
You would have paid more for that game alone. So it has definitely been good value for us.
Yep, we've got Journey to the Savage Planet on Xbox One and Football Manager on PC.
Woohoo!
Let's not forget Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is for Xbox One and PC.
Yes.
We've got Stranger Things 3. We've got Mist Over. We've got, get this, a Human Fall Flat level arriving. I'm very excited. I love Human Fall Flat.
The only problem is your buddy that you usually play Human Fall Flat
No.
with can't come over and play with you right now.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Think of the positive. Yakuza Kiwami, we've got Alvastia Chronicles, lots of stuff, and Minecraft Dungeons as well.
Yes.
Has a new release date of May 26, and no doubt we'll see that rocket on the Game Pass too.
Mm-hmm. XCOM has come to the Game. Gears Tactics has come to Game Pass.
It does look very XCOM, doesn't it?
Very much so. It's almost been reskinned, basically. But they, interestingly, were hitting the points of, and you can earn things and unlock things in the games. You don't spend money to get these things. It's everything you want extra guns, extra outfits and stuff are things you can unlock by playing. It's like, why? Since when was that a selling point, right? Like, that's just how it should have always been.
Everyone now says there are no microtransactions in our game.
Yeah.
And everyone's
look
like,
at how good we
"Ooh,
are.
yay."
It's like, that's how it should have always been.
Yeah. I love those style of games, though. XCOM and even that stupid bloody Mario and Rabbids game that I thought was going to be a dumpster fire turned out to be incredible.
Yep.
And if you can nail that delivery of that genre, I don't think it doesn't matter what skin we have. If we can have aliens and realistic humans or Mario, Yoshi and Rabbids gears, they've got the characters, they've got the enemies. It should be a good fit, and I hope it gets well executed. I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of dumpster fires, there was a expansion for Savage Return Journey to the Savage Planet.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage. That's a selling point there, right there.
The fact that it's called hot garbage, I tip my hat to whoever thought of that, because like that just made me chuckle so much. I'm like, I'm not necessarily going to play the game, but I really enjoyed hearing that.
If you play Forza Street in the first 30 days on iOS and Android, you get a free car.
In the game.
That's not profitable otherwise. It has to be in the game, not real life. Thankfully, they cleared that up on the stream.
Yes.
Because I did make that joke. Mm-hmm. It wasn't quite original because it was then put on the stream.
They knew immediately everyone was going to pounce on that wording.
An interesting announcement will be the Hotline Miami collection, since the sequel, Hotline Miami 2, is banned in our home country of Australia.
Yes, it is.
So I don't think we're getting the Hotline Miami collection.
Very unlikely, unless the, I don't know, are they too busy with the other problems at the moment to look at video games right now?
Smuggle it through. Quick question, what did you think of the Stardew Valley on drugs that is
my
Atomic
word.
Crops?
I couldn't keep up with it. I was trying to watch. I'm like, what are they even doing in this game? It was chaos.
Yeah. It looks like a pixely 2D sort of farming simulator, but then the farms and the crops go crazy and become monsters, and there's rabbits and... Not rabbids, but rabbits. Sometimes I think a game trailer just shows too much too quick, and it can be overwhelming and off-putting.
Yeah.
To some people who might be interested in the game, but then they see how, oh, look, high action, look at it, oh, there's so much going on, bullets flying everywhere, and I look at that, I'm like, I don't think I can play that, it's too stressful. Do you agree?
Yes. At the moment, I'm definitely seeking out games that do not stress me out. I want something that's going to help me relax. There's enough stress elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Sea of Thieves has cats now.
Cats.
Cats, Nico-chan. Meow. And apparently they don't do much. All the footage was just showing them taking naps on the ships.
Taking naps, getting scritches. Sounds like someone I know.
Scritches?
Scritches.
Scritches.
Yeah. That's what the internet calls scratches.
Oh, okay. I just thought you were putting on a Kiwi accent for a moment there. Nips and scritches.
All right, if we get a cat, we've got to call him Scritches now.
Scritches.
That's a cute name. Now, the thing that interested me most, Sea of Thieves 2-year anniversary, lots of updates there, new emissary modes. You can sail the seas as a shipping partner? I didn't quite understand what they meant by that.
Do you know what an emissary is?
An ambassador.
Essentially, you're going on behalf of like a country similar to diplomats and the like. So they might be a bit more neutral than all the other pirates and stuff like that.
But above all of the game announcements, there was not really much in the way of new game information, brand new world premieres, as Xbox love to play, that audio clip. We did, however, get a little more glimpse on some of the features and functions of the Xbox Series X new consoles coming out. It still looks like a strange little speaker box, but it is a video game machine. It has a external little memory card thing that is like a slightly oversized PS1 memory card.
Yeah.
PS1 memory cards had like 8 meg of data on them, and this has a terabyte. A terabyte.
Yep.
And you can just slot it in, bingo, instantly done. You can have external hard drives to store things on, but you got to move them to the internal storage to actually play them. We saw an explanation from a man with a long beard about ray tracing and all the wonderful things that is unlocking. They call it the holy grail of game development. The new shadows, graphics, lighting, techniques, reflections, all that good stuff, using up far less CPU power, freeing that up for other things like AI. Oh, it's exciting. There gets to be a moment where I'm like, games can't get any better than this. I'm playing beautiful video games with great graphics, great storylines, great worlds. It can't get any better than this. I have said that at the end of the last 3 generations. And every time I've immediately then gone, oh, okay, I'm stupid. Games can get much better.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to, in particular, the so quick loading. They have games that you can suspend in this modern era and put your PS4 on rest mode, have your Xbox on, always on mode, and you can turn your game off. You can make dinner, you can cook dinner, you can eat dinner, you can clean up dinner, come back, turn your Xbox on, turn your PlayStation on, and you're back in the game instantly. They have that with the Xbox Series X, but you can do it between multiple games. You can be playing Gears of War 5, as an example, and go, yeah, all right, I'm up to this boss fight, I'll pause, I'll load up my next game. It loads up, you play Forza Supercars 86, whatever they'll be up to by then. You can do 3 laps of that and then go, okay, I'm going to go back to Gears and just load that instantly and be back on that pause screen. That's mind-blowing.
I mean, you'd have to have everything on digital, because if you just had hard copies, then you'd have to be switching discs.
That's a very good point.
So
they should have one of those CD racks like people's cars used to have in the early 2000s.
We used to have one of those. It had 5-disc rotating for DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
It was so helpful if you were binge watching a TV show. You could put like a whole season's discs in, so that way you never had to get up.
See?
Back then, it was the ultimate laziness. We thought that was the pinnacle of technology.
Now, who's thinking of the real innovations? Microsoft? Sony? No. The gaming lovers. We want a 7 CD stacker for our console so we can just load all the games in it at once.
Honestly, I think just being able to have more memory, because obviously I think digital video games is becoming more and more commonplace.
Yep.
Even I kind of give in to that lazy side of, the disc isn't in for the game I want to play, I guess I'll just do something else. So it's a prevalent thing. Like, I mean, that's on me, really. But I think that many gamers do fall into that category. I've
always been a physical media kind of guy, and I think even for me, the tide is starting to turn. The table's turning, the tide's... What is that proverb? What am I going for? Forget it. I'm abandoning the segment. We'll be back after this with our future tense gaming goals, and I'll try to recalibrate my proverbometer to make sure it works properly.
Share the love. Follow us on Twitter at Brendo Jem. That's BRENDOJEM.
So what is on the horizon for you this week, Brendo? Some new horizons, perhaps?
No. It'll be the
Animal
same. Oh, I see what you did there. Sorry. That was a softball that I just went.
Shove your head right there.
Easy peasy. I didn't even know that was the name of the game. I thought it was New Animal Crossing New Horizon Zero Dawn, New Dawn, Far Cry 8.
Oh, now I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn.
My horizons will be the same horizons that I have been staring at with unfocused eyes for the past week. Final Fantasy VII Remake, without a doubt, is my primary objective. I am interested in how long it's going to take me to get to this 3-hour point for the original. It's not far off. 20 hours to 3 hours is a large factor of improvement of content, but I'm intending on really hitting this game this week. I mean, once this podcast is recorded, I just have work to worry about, and then I have a lovely long weekend, the tail end of this week, so I'm hoping on getting a lot of gaming done. I'm going to say, no spoilers, but there's a large building. If you have played the games, you know the building I'm going to. It's a major building, and I intend on reaching that building by next week.
What an exciting building.
It is, and considering how maze-like it was in the original, I dread to think how long it's going to take me to get through that building in this version. But
Hopefully nothing like those corridors in Final Fantasy 15. Oh,
hopefully
they
not.
patched it to cut that area down. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm almost finished with the wall market section of the game, which has been an absolute blast. I've had so much fun, and I was not ready in the slightest. I prepared myself mentally for the Honeybee Inn, and I was not ready at all. Oh my goodness, it was not what I expected it to be. And thankfully, wall market, for better or worse, is almost done. So let's charge on with Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to continue to pay off the loans that my wife is making me do for bridge building now I was going to say Horizon Zero Dawn, in Animal Crossing New Horizons, and
at least I don't put you in that kind of debt in real life.
thank goodness for that. And depending on availability with the good brother, there may be a completion of Resident Evil 3 Remake, which I do not think will be the last I play of that game in the short term. There will be replays.
Exciting times. In the near future, my sisters are planning to all get online to play Overcooked together.
Nice.
So we've been messaging each other trying to figure out when everyone's free because while Melissa is at home kind of trapped with her young kids, Nat still has to work. She works at Metro with train stuff like you do, so her hours are even weirder than yours. So trying to fit into her schedule mostly is what we're adapting to at the moment. So I believe in the next couple of days we have some windows of time to have some sister gaming, which will be a first because I think we've only ever played video games together, like couch co-op. So trying to make sure that everyone knows how to jump online and play. It's probably going to take a good half an hour at least just to get set up.
Trial and error.
Should be amusing.
You'll get there.
Also, obviously, Animal Crossing will be my go-to. I need to de-stress unless you've taken it to work with you. And Persona 5 Royal, hopefully I can get to a point where I'm kind of in the midst or have at least started the next palace.
Cool.
So I think those are realistic goals for me, given what's on my plate at this time. I don't want to put too much on there.
Yes, we do have a busy week. We do have gaming goals set. Will they be achieved? We have to wait.
Hopefully.
Find out next week. Thank you again for joining us. And we would love to hear what you've been enjoying in the gaming world on our social media platforms. Until next week, Chowski.
Bye, Nara.
Thanks for listening to the Gaming Lovers Podcast. For more episodes or to watch some live stream gaming, visit thegaminglovers.com.